Hello YouTube and all of you vinyl junkies, which I kind of include myself here. Here's a little fun little project you can do, and what is fun about it is you can do it as cheaply or as embellished or whatever as you want. You can find a little quartz clock movement, and you can mount it on an old record, and you can make like a vinyl clock. Now what I've done here, I've kind of like I've already started this, and you could almost consider this finished, or you can go a little farther, which I'm going to do. But what I want to show you first, I went to Goodwill one day and I found this kind of, whoop, I see it's busted. I found this kind of NASCAR cheap plastic clock for $4, and I basically modified an old record I didn't want. And first thing I would suggest, if you go looking for one of these old clocks, take a fresh AA battery, which most of them use, and test it. Make sure it works. Then after that, you will find most of these clocks, I think most of them have this kind of movement where they'll have like a hexagonal shaft nut, and that makes this mounting much easier. Some don't. Some have a different kind of movement where it's mounted with some like other screws on the clock, whatever the existing clock is. And as far as like the hands that come with it, they usually just kind of press on to the different shafts, the hour shaft and the minute shaft. If you find a clock that has dark hands or black hands, you could always like paint them light, or you could actually glue on or make maybe like some paper hands or whatever on those old hands. But I just kept this one the way it is. Another thing I did, maybe you can see that is not a copy of Who's Next by the Who on Decca. I actually photocopied that record, then cut out the copy and kind of pasted that out over this real cheapy, I can't even remember what this record was, but it was some worthless record. But the record itself is pretty clean, and I actually cleaned it off just so it wasn't an eyesore. Another kind of cool thing about this old clock is it had this kind of full-size lens, and it just happens to be pretty much the diameter of the record. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my tape, and I'm going to tape some pieces around that, and then just kind of tape that over. Now at this point, you could, like I said, if you know the clock works, you could actually take like a piece of sheet metal, and you could kind of tape a little stand if you wanted, and like stand it up or whatever. Or if you wanted to mount it on a wall, just tape like a strip of tape, reinforce it sort of with a hole, and then like mount it on the wall like that. But if you do that, and what you probably notice about like a lot of these quartz clocks is they kind of make kind of a loud click sound that kind of gets annoying after a while. And what I think you can do to minimize that, you can get some weather stripping, and just kind of surround the back of the movement perhaps, and that will kind of quiet it down a bit. I bought some of this for other reasons, but it could work for this. I also, coincidentally, I found this big hunk of foam rubber for $1 at Goodwill today. You could use that. I'm not going to use this, but if you have something like that, you could use that, but you have to like figure out a way to paste it on the back of the record to surround the movement or whatever. What I'm going to do though, like I said, I'm this far, And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to like I said, I'm going to put that lens on, but then I'm going to mount this in a more colorful kind of surround. And what I did is I went to a craft store and I bought this piece of foam board. I don't know what you call it, artist board or something. And I'm going to mount that in here, and then I'm going to mount it on the wall, and it should look pretty sharp because my walls are kind of, I just have kind of blank light colored walls, so I'll lay that out on that and see how it looks. Okay, what I done here is I only took maybe a couple pieces of my little transparent packaging tape, put one, try to keep it as inconspicuous as possible, put one there and one near the top. Then I laid out on my board the opening of the movement, and then I measured it, centered it, and measured it, and I tried to cut just enough for that to kind of press through. I kind of want it to be held in there. I'm going to put some tape maybe up here, but I pretty much want most of this held in here by the friction of the movement in this hole here. It's kind of a snug fit, so it'll press and it'll be like a press fit. Okay, I got that sort of mounted where I want it. And I'll show you the back here. As you can see, you know, that's not going anywhere. That's gonna it's not very heavy, obviously, so it's in there to stay. I did put a little tape along the top behind there to sort of help anchor it, but a lot of it is held in by the friction of the movement through that piece of foam board there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to quiet this movement, because if you've had these clocks, and I think this is why people bring these clocks to like Goodwill, because they get irritated by the clicking of the second-hand movement. You know, they're quartz movements, and they make a clicking noise. And if you don't have any kind of insulation behind it, that just kind of resonates against, say, the wall or whatever. Like I said, I got either this stuff which will stick on, or you could always find some foam rubber like I did here, and you could cut a piece, but you'd have to figure out how to either use like a double-sided tape or some sort of glue or something, which I kind of wouldn't recommend, because that would probably be kind of messy. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some of this, try to surround this a bit, and also kind of displace that distance, because I got a good ½ inch here between the back of this and the back of the movement there. And then I'm going to devise some sort of I think I'm going to take like a piece of tape, reinforced tape, stick it along here, and then bend it back on itself to kind of reinforce it, and then I'm going to punch a hole with my little hand hole puncher, and that's going to be my hanger. Okay, I hope you can see this. I actually took two pieces, kind of stuck them on top of each other to kind of displace the depth of the movement. I took a piece of packaging tape, stuck it on, then I took another piece, stuck that on, and then part of that kind of folded it up on itself. Then I kind of punched a hole in that reinforcement there. Probably can't see it too well, but made sure it was centered. This is where I'm going to hang it. I already test hung it, but what I'm going to do, and I'll show you at the very end, I'm going to put like another, like a finishing nail at the bottom to kind of hold the whole thing flat. So hopefully that seal will kind of mute the ticking noise a little bit better. Okay, maybe you can see this. I got it mounted, hung on the wall there. I tried to have that seal even. I got the little brad there on the bottom there, trying to hold the thing flat overall. But there it is. There's your little vinyl LP clock. So I hope you enjoyed that, and Hope to see you again real soon. Bye for now.